Next, I welcome Zaylene Roy Campbell from Syracuse University, who is a member of the Edward Fry Book Award Committee.
Good afternoon. The Edward B. Fry Book Award is to recognize LRA members who author a book on literacy research and practice. The award was established by Edward B. Fry, who contributed a fund to support it. The first award was presented in 1995. The award is given to an author or co-authors for a book that advances our knowledge about literacy, displays inquiry into literacy, and shows responsible intellectual risk-taking. I'd like to recognize the members of the Edward Fry Book Committee. Eliana Reyes, who is the chair, was not able to be at LRA this year, and that's why I'm presenting on her behalf. The other members are, and if you're here, can you stand? Maria Paula Giso, Maureen Boyd, Monica Yu, Ione James, Laura Totorelli, Kongchi Han, Leslie Burns, Jacqueline Lynch, and our liaison was Ramon Martinez. There were 5 books nominated this year, and we can only give the award to one. So we agreed that this year the award should go to Professor Allison Skerritt, Teaching Transnational Youth, published by Teachers College Press in 2016. Okay. Allison's book focuses on very relevant educational curriculum and immigration issues. Readers meet intriguing young people living extraordinary lives and see how literacy affects and shapes those lives. Transnational lives and experiences are then used to inform the curriculum, teaching, and language learning. This book clearly advances our knowledge about literacy and what transnationalism means in the lives, learning, and literacies of youth. In her book, she demonstrates how transnational flows work in a bidirectional manner, how ideas, content, and information are principal components of those flows, and for educators, and why it is important to learn about the transnational experiences of their students. So I would like to invite Allison to join me on stage to accept the Edward B. Fry Award for 2019. And can you join me in congratulating her on receiving this award?
Thank you, everyone, and good evening. I feel very honored and blessed by God that Teaching Transnational Youth has been selected as this year's recipient of the Fry Book Award. Thank you to Dr. Eliana Reyes, chair of the award committee, and the committee members for reading and deliberating over this work and for selecting it for this honor. I wish to thank as well Dr. Bob Jimenez for nominating his book for consideration of the award. Thank you to my husband and son, Peter and Peter, yes, it causes some confusion at home, for continuing to support and challenge me to take on work that they see as important for the world, for students and their teachers. This is now my new criteria for whether I say yes or no to professional opportunities. To my colleagues at UT, and thank you to those who are in the room, Melissa, Tracy, Randy, I'll mention you in a moment, for supporting me across the 2 years that it took to write this book. A special thank you to Randy Bomer for reading this work in draft and for writing such a moving forward. Jim Hoffman, I don't know if you're here, but I'll never forget what seemed like a side conversation. It literally happened on the sidewalk across from our building several years ago. We had a fire drill, and we were all milling around the perimeter of the Bullock Museum. And Jim said something along the lines of, there's all this research about transnationalism going on right now. I'm surprised with your background you aren't all over that, something like that. And that's part of Jim's uniquely quirky, highly personal, and caring mentoring style. Of course, Jim was referring to my own transnational identity as a Caribbean-born person who claims that part of the world as well as the U.S. as my homes. So thank you to Jim. I also wish to thank my acquisitions editor at Teachers College Press, Emily Spangler, who picked up my first article on transnational youth published in JLR in 2012 and wrote to me asking whether I had considered writing a book on the educational implications that I had begun to articulate in that piece. Thank you, Emily, for seeing the potential of this topic. And then thanks to Mary Juswick, then editor of JLR, who was assigned to my manuscript, very patient and taught me a lot, and the anonymous reviewers as well, who oriented and supported my thinking of the young woman about whom I was writing at that time as a transnational person. But finally, and most significantly, I thank all the young people who have and continue to honor me by allowing me into their stories of living transnationally and teaching me how they wield languages and literacy to pursue their many life goals. As I always tell them, my hope is to honor and share their stories in such a way that teachers and others in positions of power will develop a heart for them and feel equipped to educate them in ways that support them in living rich and empowered lives. And thanks to all of you.